Do you guys remember the classic fight between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, the rumble in the jungle down in Zaire? Ali ended up winning that fight and regaining his World Heavyweight Championship by using a strategy called the rope-a-dope. And at the time, people thought he was crazy. While the match was going on, he was laid back on the ropes, just sitting there like this, just letting George Foreman swing away. And people thought he was crazy. They kept yelling, "Get off the ropes, run from him, run away, defend yourself better, don't lay there on the ropes." Ali laid there on the ropes, allowed Foreman to punch himself out, and when he saw the opportunity, he knocked Foreman out and regained the championship. When I'm watching this election play out, I really feel like that what's happening is that we are all rope-a-doping Donald Trump, and he's continuing to punch himself out, because it's kind of like the old expression, if you give a person enough rope, they'll hang themselves. That's definitely the case with Donald Trump, because he cannot shut up. He does not have it in him to pump the brakes. Now, after the dust settled from that debate, we all said, yeah, Biden had a bad debate performance. The media immediately zeroed in and just focused all about Biden's performance and started calling for him to drop out of the race and began holding him accountable for every pause and every hesitation and every misspeak that he had. And they didn't focus in on the mountain of lies that Donald Trump stood there and embraced. They didn't zero in on all the unhinged things that Donald Trump said during that debate. But after it was over, people like us started sorting through it. We started bringing the receipts and we started pointing things out. And this entire time, we've been trying to talk about Project 2025 and point out those things. And that's another thing that the mainstream media has been completely silent on, until Donald Trump himself came out and decided to say, I don't know anything about Project 2025. Had he just kept his mouth shut, the mainstream media might not have picked up on it. But because he did, now we're all talking about it. Now everyone is talking about it. And Hakeem Jeffries is talking about it in this next clip. So I want to play this next clip for you, and then we're going to talk more about this.
We embrace having a debate with our extreme MAGA Republican colleagues about issues that matter. Why won't you just take your issues to the American people? Why are you trying to hide your plans that are connected to Trump's Project 2025 publicly, but then you come to the House floor and you bring this extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill that is part of the blueprint of Trump's Project 2025. You can't fool the American people. They're smarter than you think. You don't want to have a real debate about issues. Why? Because the extreme MAGA Republicans want to criminalize abortion care and impose a nationwide ban. They're trying to hide that now from the American people, stripping it from their convention platform. We know what you really want to do. You put the justices, the extreme MAGA Republicans, put the justices on the Supreme Court who detonated Roe v. Wade. That's your agenda. That's part of Trump's Project 2025. You don't want to debate the issues. You want to suppress the right to vote. Why? Because Trump's Project 2025, which is part of your platform, wants to detonate and destroy the Department of Education, which the American people don't support. You don't really want to embrace the ability for young people of every race, of every part of America, including the heartland of America and rural America and Appalachia and suburban America, to get a high-quality public education. That's what Trump's Project 2025 is about. But you don't really want to have a discussion about that. You don't want that exposed to the American people. So we're on the floor right now with an extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill that does nothing, because the law is already clear. Non-citizens cannot vote in federal elections.
So since Donald Trump came out and said that he knew nothing about Project 2025 and didn't know who was behind it, Project 2025 has become the most Googled search out there, more so than Taylor Swift or the NFL. If Donald Trump had just shut up about it, we probably wouldn't even be talking about it. But he had to go out there and say that, and when he did, now everybody's paying attention to it. Now everybody's starting to read up on it, and now people are starting to realize that this idea isn't as popular as everyone thought that it was. Because when you really read it for what it is, you realize that whether you vote for Trump or not doesn't matter. It's still going to affect you and your family's life. And what have I always said? It has to affect them. It has to hit them in their bank accounts. It has to start stripping away rights from them. It has to start affecting their family before they pause and say, wait a minute, maybe we should rethink this. What this proves, folks, is that Project 2025 was never as popular as the extreme right was trying to make it out to be. What it shows you is that more independent and moderate voters and reasonable people on either side of the political aisle does not want this project to be implemented because they see what kind of country we would be living in, and no one really wants that. Now Trump is running scared, and now he's trying to reframe it every way he can and dodge any and all accountability of it. But like Hakeem Jeffries said, if you guys want to have an actual debate about things, we welcome a debate. But when we welcome a debate, you have to understand that there's not a both sides argument when it comes to women's rights. We're not going to sit here and hear your argument be that you want to strip away rights from women and take them all away, have a federal abortion ban nationwide, and no woman's ever allowed to make that decision on her own ever again. There's really not two sides to that. We're going to be standing up for the women. And when you come out with your hatred and your bigotry and you express those things, we're not going to have the both sides argument on that, because there is not two sides to hatred. So we welcome debates. If you have ideas and solutions on how you want to fix things, fine. But if your ideas and solutions means that you're going to create a government in Trump's image, you're going to create a government that only benefits rich, white, Christian men, then that's not solutions. That's not ideas. That is an agenda. That is an ideology that is dangerous to this country. That's an ideology that is against everything this country was ever founded on. Folks, this is a big country. I've said this in previous videos, but we got to keep driving these points home. This is a very diverse country. People from all walks of life live here, and if you want to live here in peace and harmony, we have to realize that, hey, it's not all about us. There's other people in this too. So we have to realize that other people have their struggles, other people have the things that they're going through, and we shouldn't be over here trying to make life harder on them. They should have the same rights as the rest of us to do what they need to do and live their life. And when you start trying to take those things away and you start trying to put in a government that looks exactly like you want it to look, there is nothing American about that at all. What we were supposed to be is a diverse country where everybody could come here and have the same opportunities to make a name for themselves. Donald Trump has went out there and went out of his way to demonize immigrants and make them, he calls them the vermin. They have to be rooted out. They have to be sent out of this country. He says they're destroying us. But they're coming here to make a better way for themselves, and in doing so, they're making this country better. They're working and they're paying into the system, and they're building this country right along beside of us. We should lift them up, and we should recognize them for who they really are and not sit and always demonize them. We all work together to make this country great. It's not about one side or one ideology making things great. No one has the individual patent on that. No one has the individual copyright on that, because if you did, it would defeat the whole purpose of what we're really about as a country. This country is about diversity, and this country should be about equality, and everyone should have the same rights. So Project 2025, people are starting to catch on to now, and they're starting to realize, wait a minute, I can like Trump. I can get all caught up in his cult of personality. I can get caught all up in his WWE style of rhetoric, but hold on, this could take away my grandmother's livelihood. The Social Security that my parents paid into could be taken away from them. The rights that my mother had when she had me is going to be stripped away. The rights that my daughters have are going to be stripped away. Once they really get in there and start examining it for what it is, they realize that even if they do pledge allegiance to Trump, they're cutting their nose off to spite their own face. So, as bad as that debate performance was, and I'm never going to say it was a good one, the silver lining in the cloud is that Donald Trump kept talking. The silver lining in the cloud is that Donald Trump continued to bury himself. The silver lining in the cloud is that he continued to expose himself and his cronies around him for exactly who they really are. And when he realized, uh-oh, they're catching on to this, he knew it ain't as popular as they love to make it out to be. And so suddenly now he's got to shift gears. He's got to try to rebrand it. He's got to change the narrative. And he's going to hope that his flock goes along with it. There'll still be the diehards that will. But a lot of people are starting to wake up. I've noticed on social media, people I never thought would say this is starting to say, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't realize this was in Project 2025. Whoa, wait a minute. I didn't realize that Trump was for this. I was just sitting back cheering the rhetoric. I was just laughing at the shit he says. Well, it's time to take it serious. It's time to realize just how serious this is, because it's not even really about Trump, folks. At the end of the day, he's just the mouthpiece for this radical ideology that wants to take over this entire country. They're going to use him to be their mouthpiece. They'll use anybody else. That's why I say we have to continue to fight this as we go forward. It's not going to go away. These people didn't make it this far in the game to say, all right, you guys got us, we'll go ahead and go home. We win this thing in 2024, we save democracy for that day. But we can't look away. We can't think that it's going to go away. We have to continue to stand up for it, because these radicals are out there with their agenda. They can call it Agenda 47, Agenda 48, 49, 50, whatever they want to call it, Project 2025, Project 2029, name it. Call it whatever you want to. But it's still the same rotten ideology that would poison this country and take us away from everything that we were. And I'm so glad that people have stopped talking about Hawk Tua just for a minute and stopped talking about Taylor Swift and the NFL to realize our future's on the line. Our democracy's on the line. We better start Googling Project 2025. I'm glad to see people are finally starting to wake up. So let's keep talking about it. We're going to have to keep talking about it as long as they're out there.